Everyone.
Is this mic working? Oh, I probably have to make it louder. Hold on. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Good morning.
Sorry, I was trying to type. Thank you, Janet. And I sent it too soon. Sorry, a little froggy.
Hey, Afie. Hey, Dizzy. What's up, Brad? Hey, Joanne. Hey, Mandy. Hey, Groot. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Hey, Leanne. Hey, Mods. Hey, Snazzy. Hey, Jan. Thanks so much, everyone, for being here. Had a little day off yesterday. Good morning from Panama. Hey, Miko. Hey, Bella. Hey, Allie. Holly Berry.
Snazzy Trinkets Jewelry. Thanks for being here this morning. She says hit the like. Please do.
Hey, Desiree. Hey, Viv. Hey, Shelly. Hey,
Sorry,
Sarah.
guys.
What's up, Mike? Guys, if Janique comes in, we got to say happy birthday. It was her birthday yesterday, and we were off, and I feel bad. So we got to make sure if she stops in, we got to say, oh, there she is. We missed it yesterday. Sorry we weren't live, but we're going to do it today. Why is this not? Oh, I got to put the chat up. Everyone say happy birthday to Janique. Let me pull this up here. Let's see if this works now.
Happy birthday, Janique.
We gotta go. Hold on. We gotta get this. Let me go to YouTube. Let me go to birthday. Let me close this. Let's go here.
It's your birthday.
Our little baby's all grows up. You know what? Shut up. Come on. No. Our little baby's all grows up.
Sweet birthday, baby.
Happy birthday. You're grown up.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
It is your birthday, period.
Statement of fact.
Hey! Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, dear
Happy birthday.
Because you're grown up and you're grown up and you're grown up.
Happy birthday, Janique. I hope you had a great day yesterday. Thanks for being here. Hey, what's up, Steve? Who did I miss? Brad. Yes, guys, we went to Texas Roadhouse. Brad gave us $100 gift card a little while back. So generous. So we checked out the Texas Roadhouse. There was a moose. There was people loudly singing some sort of birthday songs. Those poor staff, they should get I tweeted they should have a mandatory 70% tip if you make them sing those friggin' songs.
There was a yeehaw.
There was a yeehaw. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Cabo. Hey, Martin. Hey, Mish. Hey, Groot. Tia. Everyone, thanks for being here. What else? The rolls were good. Everything was so freaking hot. That stuff came out, and it was like burning your mouth. I don't know if that's at every Texas Roadhouse, but boy, everything was hot. The moose was not sweaty, but I was. We were not under a fan.
We weren't. We were like back in a corner. I feel like they were trying to maybe give us like some privacy for a sweet little date night, but then they sat a giant group like right next to us, like literally almost on our laps. So and then it felt a little hotter. But by that time, we were almost finished, so it was fine. That was fine.
And the initial plan was for us to go from there. There was a movie theater not 0.3 miles away. We were going to drive and go see Barbie. We get to Barbie, and we go up to the thing. They had no, this is the first time, I don't know if other places have this. There was no people. It was, you just went to like a kiosk. We put our card in. The only two seats for Barbie were the frontmost seats in the screen to the right. The only two seats together. So we decided to pass to not sit 2 hours in a movie in those frontmost seats. So we are going to go another time. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow, maybe Saturday. We may have to take a little break ski from the... Jasmine says to hit the like button. So smash that like button for Janique's birthday and for Jazzy, guys. Smash it. We may have to take a little break ski from the true crime, as we both did not get a good night's sleep last night, as one of us woke up screaming. No, one of us was screaming and one of us woke up from the screaming, if you want to tell that story, babe.
I think that although I have always been into true crime and I've always read thrillers and I always enjoy suspenseful movies, I don't know that, my whole life has been about true crime before. And so in the last 2 months, I've woken Jay and I by screaming. So I'm having some disturbing dreams. Last night there was a man chasing me and I could not find where I parked my car. It was my car from when I was in college, which I drove a 1980 Chevy Nova. So my car and I were the same age. And it was, I couldn't find it anywhere. It was like in Times Square. So I was looking for it. So there was, some Manhattan Rex Heuermann vibes in there or something. Me being young, I'm sure, resonating with the victims or something. But I'm going to try to start reading, instead of reading my suspense books before bed, I usually also am reading a literary fiction. So I'll try to read that before bed, and I might watch The New Girl or something before bed, because it's a lot.
Yeah, so I'm on cup 2. We're both a little tired, but I just have to say, I have to thank Shannon for everything she does, guys. I mean, beyond the thumbnails, beyond fucking taking on Top Cop and making us stay for being in front of the Long Island Ciliers, the Rex his house. Beyond that, you guys have no idea how much she helps behind the scenes, just managing just it's one of the things that I'm really struggling with, and I don't want anyone to take offense. This is just one of the things I'm struggling with is we get a deluge of messages, and we have Discord, we have email, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, and just something I didn't anticipate is trying to handle all of that, and I really struggle with it, and I really struggle putting together stuff in a way in response that is in a way that is coherent, I guess, and I don't know. Anyway, Shannon just crushes it every time. There's no way I could be doing this without her. So thanks, babe. I love you. Are we ready?
I love you.
So, what we are gonna do here is, getting to know the victims. Shannon has done it, and beyond, like I said, doing that stuff. Shannon crushes it with the research, gets all the stuff together, sends it to me, and then we present it to you. So this is all Shannon. So where do you want me to start? You want to start by saying anything? You tell me, babe. How do you want to?
Well, I was going to tell you all in chat that if you notice, we have a new mod today. Mandy Joe is joining us as a mod. She is a mod and has been a mod for Steve and Dago, and I'm not sure what other channels, but literally every time we see Mandy Joe on another channel, she is, whether we are there or not chatting with her, she's always promoting Jabo Nation, and she always lets people know about Jay. And so we just have been really impressed with her from the beginning, and we wanted her to join our mod team, our mod squad, if you will. So I wanted to let you guys know that before we started.
One other thing I wanted to put in here before we started. A ton of the information that Shannon got is from a Twitter account, catch _LISK. So, as we go forward with this case, with this stream and others on this case, we added a custom. I added a custom command. There it is. This should work. Hopefully, there it is. So if there's the link, please, if you want information on this, it has to be maybe the best resource around on this case. Please follow them on Twitter. Just crushing it. There's so much information on there. Please check that, catch _LISK. Just an invaluable resource if you want information. And they've been doing this for a long time. So I just wanted to shout them out. So you ready, baby? You want me to pull up the or did you want to say something else? Or
No, I was just going to say that I did get a lot of information from them. They're also a very ethical creator. They're very victim focused. They are not about promoting themselves whatsoever, as they are an anonymous account. However, they have spent countless volunteer hours putting people who are missing from around the nation and around the world on a map. They're an amazingly kind person, and they've been great to us as well. So I just also wanted to endorse catch _LISK. They've been invaluable to this case.
And yeah, anytime, if you guys are always here, you're here now, but if you see folks come in and they're looking for information, all you got to do is !LISK, throws it right to their twitter.com. So wanted to set that up.
We also plan on having Ruth on the show at some point in time. She's been on deadline, and we plan on talking to her soon. But we love that you guys have all embraced Ruth, because she's been, I know it wasn't hard to embrace her because she's amazing, but we just are all so happy that you all feel the same way about Ruth Bashinsky from the Daily Mail that we do. She really stuck her neck out for us, and she's so wonderful. She's so fun to hang out with.
Speaking of Ruth, make sure you're following her. And if you're not, I got to show you guys what I like to call the Bo effect, which is you guys. The Jabo Nation, J-Buzz Nation, Bo effect. I want to show you guys something here. So here's Ruth's. By the way, before we started, finding her, I feel like she had to have, what, babe, 35? I'm not sure how many followers she had, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it was way under 100, way under.
But I want to show you something. So this was July 22nd. She posted this. about the investigation. July 22nd, 3 retweets, 30 likes, 934 views. This was July 22nd, and I think some of the responses might have just been folks going in there and saying, thanks. So then she tweeted this 14 hours ago, guys. This was July 22nd, which is what, 5 days ago. This is 14 hours ago. She's got 12 retweets, 40 likes, 2,412 views. This is the Bo effect, people. This is the Bo effect. This is J-Bo Nation, J-Buzz Nation, getting the word out for the people that we fucking vouch for, and it makes me proud and happy every time that we are able to do something like this for someone. So thank you guys so much. J-Bo Nation, J-Buzz Nation, the Bo effect. This is going to keep growing, and we're going to keep supporting people like this who are great. So, all right, babe, you ready?
Yeah. Okay, so this article is from New York Magazine. It's one of the best articles about this case as far as the victims go, because it has each of the five women. So there's the Gilgo Four, and that is Melissa Barthelemy, Maureen, Brainerd-Barnes, Amber, Lynn Costello, and Megan Waterman. And then it also has the fifth woman who these survivors have invited into their sorority of sorts, the worst type of sorority that you could belong to. They feel that they have a serial killer in common, is the name of the article, and that is Shannon Gilbert. Because the police were looking for Shannon Gilbert after she went missing in 2010 is the reason that the four on Gilgo Beach were found. They had been there for a while. They were not going to be found without Shannon Gilbert. Her life was during the memorials, a lot of the other women's family have called her their daughter's or their sister's angel, because she brought the light to their stories. She's been called a catalyst, a lightning rod, and she's all of those things. And so her mother is on the right picture on the far right, and her name is Mary. And unfortunately, she has since passed away. And we'll talk about that a little later. But these are the advocates for the women and the people that are still fighting for them to gain justice. But this article is amazing because it really talks about so much of their lives. And I just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about each of their lives and the people that are still on earth who love them and who really want justice for them and want them to be recognized as human beings who mattered.
Yes.
And this article is a free, New York Magazine is a free article, so you should be able to read this if you would like. It's really well done. Sadly, it was done, it was published on May 27th, 2011. And so obviously it was way, yes, James, you can share our stream out. Of course, we'd love that. It was published far before the time that Rex Heuermann was apprehended. So, and I believe also Megan Waterman's mother, Amber Lynn's mother, Lorraine, is in this as well, possibly, and she has also since passed away.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, baby. Go ahead.
I was just going to say one thing. We put out a video where Shannon eloquently said, as far as sex workers go, we have no judgment here, and we're not going to have any. But one thing I wanted to, also say is, and I probably should have said this before, but they're not just defined these victims by the fact that they were sex workers. They had lives, they had families, and that's why we're doing this. Because in addition to no judgment from us regarding, them being sex workers, that's not who they are. It's not just that they were sex workers. These people had lives, they had families, they had ambitions. They were trying to, get through this world just like the rest of us. And if not for this monster, I don't even want to talk about. They should have, been still around just like the rest of us. So just a reminder that that's not what defines them as human beings. They're just like the rest of us. So I'm sorry, babe. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was just saying too. So a lot of the press on this. Okay, so these women, these women that we're speaking about today, the earliest one who was killed was Maureen Brainerd-Barnes. She was last heard from on 7/9/2007. So a lot of this press is older press. And a lot of it, like I know Jay was like reading the arrest warrant or
Bail application.
Yes, bail application. Thank you. The other day. And a lot of this older press regards these women as different terminology than sex worker. Sex worker is more the term that is the preferred term for vernacular at this point in time. However, unfortunately, that's not widely known, and so sometimes people will go back to old vernacular, and I know that that's offensive to some people, and we are trying to, promote the new and sensitive vernacular here. However, unfortunately, sometimes with these types of things, sex work will also become a term that is also regarded in a derogatory fashion, unfortunately. We've seen this with language as far back as forever. It's the same thing with people in the disabilities community. There were times that you were supposed to use MR for people. Now you definitely do not use MR. And what that means. And so then it was special needs, but then you couldn't use special needs because, people turned that into a derogatory term. And then you were supposed to say individuals with this disability, but then the people with the disability said, no, we want to be called actually this. And so it's best to let people define themselves. And that's what we're trying to do. So right now the term is sex work. So that's what we're going to go with on our channel. But you will see some of those older terms in the press that we may highlight and we may bring up. And please just know that that vernacular was a sign of the times and not how we feel. This was their job. This was not them. I hope that if I'm ever murdered, people are not just saying, that I taught theater classes. I hope there's more about me than that. I hope there's more about me than that I got a master's degree in psychology. I hope that it's the way that I lived and loved and took care of people. And so that's what we're going to try to focus on about these women today. So I just that first article, I just kind of had as an overall source. And I will definitely link this at the bottom of this video once we are done so that you can go bounce right over to this article when we are finished here today, or anybody that's not catching this live, you can going forward, you can find this article because it's really great. Jay just put it up in the chat. Thanks, babe. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to start maybe with I know I probably didn't put them in order.
It's all right. Just tell me. I got it all ready.
If we start with Maureen, because she was the first one who was murdered out of these ladies that we're focusing on today.
This one? This article?
Yes, I believe this is the Maureen. Yep, Connecticut. So Maureen Brainerd-Barnes was 25 years old when she was taken from this earth. She was 4'11". She, as you can see, is just freaking adorable. She is fiercely advocated for by her sister, Melissa Can. She has been an amazing advocate for her sister. She will not give up. And Maureen also was a mom. She had 2 children, a daughter and a son. Her son was born in 2006, and her daughter was born in the year 2000. Maureen was described as a very giving person. She didn't have a driver's license, so that hindered her a little bit, and she was always looking for jobs and trying to be independent, as she was a single mom of these 2 children. So, she was killed in 2007. Her son was only a year old when she was killed, and her daughter was only 6. So at that point in time, she was really trying her best to get her own apartment and to take care of these 2 children. Her sister has a list, a notebook paper list, that shows her handwriting, and it shows that she was applying for every job possible that she could think of, a server, a greeter, a waitress, retail. She was applying for all of these jobs. And she was worried at that point in time about losing custody of her son. Her 2 children had different fathers, and the father that was the father of the baby, the boy, was threatening to take the son, and she was very worried that she couldn't provide a good enough environment for him because she didn't have the money. And so she was really focused on trying to get money. And so that is part of the reason that she started to place ads on Craigslist and did sex work in order to try to keep her apartment and keep her children. She had her phone with her. She was reported missing by her friend who had gone with her that weekend. Her friend was also into Craigslist and sex work, and they had gone to the city that weekend or I don't know if it was a weekend, actually. It was, they had gone to the city 7807. At that point in time, interestingly, they both had found out that their Craigslist accounts had been taken down or banned while they were working that weekend. So it's surmised by her friend that maybe she possibly had already had contact with Rex, and also surmised by her sister that she maybe had to have had contact with him before the point where he took her, because she was a very guarded individual and she would try to stay safe. And so he most likely had, possibly charmed her, or she believed him for some reason and trusted him because she was guarded, but she was also very, very giving. She was unfortunately a target for someone that would be looking to take advantage of someone. There are quite a few pictures. This time that all of these victims, besides Shannon, went missing and were killed, really before the time of social media, the sites that we have now. So before, Facebook, I think, was like around this time too, but it was just for college students at that point in time. There are not a lot of photos plus before the times of, having smartphones and taking photos at every single thing. So there are not tons and tons of photos of these women all over the internet. And the photos that are of Maureen, her eyes are so striking to me. And she just looks like the sweetest person. And I think her sister is a badass. And her sister has said it does not matter when this person is caught, she will be in the courtroom. And she wants him to know that she will be there no matter what.
And that he didn't weaken her, he only strengthened her. She's a fucking badass, no joke. And by the way, just it's all heartbreaking, but just the fact that like she was dealing with the both Shannon and I have had to go to court for custody issues, and that's so tough. And she had these worries about losing custody and not being able to make money, and it's all heartbreaking. But just when we were researching this, and Shannon was researching that really kind of struck home. But like Shannon said, her sister is a badass, and I don't know. Go ahead, babe. What else? What did you want to go to next?
So Maureen was last. I just was going to finish up her story, just to kind of place her in a timeline with the other ladies. Maureen was last heard from on July 9th, 2007. And her friend reported her friend that had gone to the city with her reported her missing on 7/14/07. The reason that there's that gap in there is that because the friend had gone back. The friend had always been planning to, or something had happened with her. She went back. And so she had no idea, because she wasn't with Maureen at the time, that Maureen was missing as quickly as she was. So she was killed around 7/9, and Rex has not been charged with her murder yet. I believe they will charge him for this, because she was found much in the same way and very near the other victims. And in 2008, her phone pinged. So a year later, her phone pinged on Gilgo. Someone was trying to access her voicemails. And we know that this was a pattern of his, that he used the victims' phones after they were dead. So I think that Maureen will get justice. If you want to go to Melissa Barthelemy, she is the next woman in the timeline.
Oh, and here's that account again.
I love this tweet.
Just gonna put it in here. Let me just. I'll read here. Formidable. That is often how Melissa is described, as a sheer, immovable force of nature, blazing her own path, challenging norms, and fierce. Melissa is also dearly loved by her family and her friends, and they too were fierce when it came to advocating for her. They too are a part of the people we respect, protecting, and honor in our remembrances. Today we are thinking of Melissa.
So Melissa Barthelemy was 4'10" and 24 years old. You can see she also is just strikingly beautiful. She was a licensed cosmetologist, and she had a dream. She's from the Bronx, and she had a dream of owning her own salon in the city. And she was interested in all things beauty and all things, hair and makeup and all of these things, and had a very close relationship with her siblings. Her sister, Amanda, was 15 when Melissa went missing. So Melissa was 24. Her little sister was 15. Her sister's name is Amanda, and she is unfortunately the one who received phone calls from the murderer. She received 7 phone calls in all. The last phone call she received was on August of 2009, so about a month after her mom reported her missing on 7/18/09, and she was last seen on 7/12/09. There are wonderful pictures of Melissa as well. Melissa, a cool thing about Melissa, I think, is that she had dropped out of high school because she was having trouble. She was, in trouble and things, and she wanted to get a degree, and she did not want to get a GED. So she went back to high school in her early 20s, which to me is pretty freaking badass, because I know for me, I would be like, oh, well, what will people think of me? I'm like so much older than them. I don't, socially, that would be very difficult to do. And she did it. She went back to high school and graduated from high school in her 20s. And I just have to hand it to her, because that's why I think that they describe her like that. She blazed her own path. She did not care what people think. She went in and did what she wanted. She achieved that goal. And so it's heartbreaking to think that she wanted to have her own salon. She was working at a salon as well as doing sex work and being an escort at the time of her death. It's very sad, because a person like this, who is willing to, at all costs to themselves, do something to further themselves, she very well may have had her own salon someday. Her sister Amanda has been now she's an adult. She has been a tireless advocate for her sister. And to just think that you had to talk to this monster and hear this monster on the phone and try to get information out of him when you were a 15-year-old girl is nothing short of amazing. And Melissa's family, her mom and her sister, have both been just, for many, many years. She was last seen in July 12th of 2009, and she wasn't found until 12/11/2010. She was the first, while they were searching for Shannon, she was the very first of the Go-Go 4 to be found. Sorry, I'm just seeing that. I don't know if, that's because it's not plugged in. Sorry, my laptop says it's going to die, so I'm just going to, it apparently wasn't plugged in.
Well, while Shan does that, I want to say, because I see some, no, what we're not going to do in this chat is victim blame the family, his wife, his family. She was cleared by the police. She was away when, confirmed by the police, she was away when these murders happened. There is nothing to indicate that they were involved. If you're going to continue to say things like that, you're getting blocked and hid from this channel, and you will not be back. We are not going to have that happen in here. The family is victims as well. So do not come in this chat and start trying to victim shame, to shame the family. It is, it's completely feasible, and they've been cleared. They have been cleared. She filed for divorce, I think 2 days later or a day later. I'm not sure the exact timeline. So don't come in here and start saying what they should have done or could have done or they were involved. Do not come in here and do that. Don't do that, because you're getting booted and you won't be back in here. We're not going to have that on my channel. We're not going to have that in the chat. Don't do it. Don't come in here and start saying what you would have done if you were involved. Everyone's situation is different. Do not come in here and do that, folks. Don't. Go ahead, babe. I'm sorry.
So tonight we're having Carrie Rawson on, and that's another reason we don't allow that kind of stuff on this channel, is that Carrie has been through this exact same situation. And I can guarantee you that if Jay had somewhere where he kept, I don't know what he, old baseball cards or whatever, and he didn't want me to get into it, I would give him his privacy. I wouldn't automatically think he's a freaking serial killer. So, and obviously we don't have problems in our marriage, but even if I had a problematic marriage where I maybe fought with somebody a lot, you guys, your brain doesn't go there. I'm sorry. That's just not in the realm of possibility of things, unless, obviously if they're like coming home all bloody or something. She was on vacation. She was gone for days and days and days. He had a lot of opportunity. And babe, I want you to talk a little bit about being a New Yorker, and the fact that he lived on Long Island and commuted to New York,
Yeah.
because I think that is something that I know I didn't get until I lived here. And a lot of people maybe not understand that dynamic and understand the train and understand, how your phone works in tunnels and etc.
All right. So yeah, I've said this before, and I'll continue to keep saying it. A lot of people, and when I encounter people who are outside of New York, when people hear New York, they're like, "Oh, Manhattan." A lot of people, boom. New York means Manhattan. New York means you're in the city all the time. They lived in Massapequa Park, which is about 20 minutes east of us. So Rex went to work. He got on the Long Island Railroad and he went to Manhattan. And that's about 30 to 45 minutes. It depends. So he would go, I believe walk, right, babe? Confirmed. He would walk he was very close to the train station. He would walk to the train station, get on the train, go into the city. So that's like a 45-minute, trip. And then he would get on the subway to get to his office in Manhattan. So, if he and he was an architect. So if he said, "Hey, I'm going to work," maybe he didn't go to work. Or maybe he said, "Hey, I have to go to this location to, look at something for the job." You couldn't especially back then, it was way worse as far as service and everything goes. You could call and get nothing. You could have no idea where they were this entire time. You could be completely clueless to where they were. So it is completely believable to me that they had no idea. And again, they were away, confirmed during the murders and the bail time. They were away, and they would just have no idea. Like, it's not hard to believe that he would get on the train, go to the city, or just plan something, and them not knowing. It's not at all hard for me to believe that. You couldn't get service on the train. You can't get service in the subway half the time. So it is not difficult for me to believe that they had no idea what was going on. So anyway.
And these things like having a family and appearing normal are the top goals for offenders like this, who are often very smart. He was an architect. He was meticulous with plans and these things like that. People see his house and they think he's some kind of, slob. Well, no, he wasn't. When you look at these, YouTube videos of him or his website where he's appearing in a 3-piece suit, he's very well put together. He's very eloquent. He's very well able to run this double life. Not everybody can do that. And so when you're thinking, oh gosh, I couldn't, do that, or couldn't see that happening. Well, of course you couldn't, because this is not a normal thought pattern. This is a person who can compartmentalize to a degree that we can't even understand. And what is important about having people like Carrie on and not alienating people's families who are perpetrators is because we can learn the absolute most from people who lived with someone like this. You will never get that kind of access, an access from a normal brain. Carrie, who has a normal brain and is a normal person, telling us about her dad's disordered brain and how it was to live with him. And so that is why Jay and I are so passionate about families of perpetrators not being blamed and being told that, oh, you had to have known something. Because I am telling you, from the moment that Carrie found out, even though she loved her dad dearly, she helped the FBI. She told them everything. And that must have been absolutely heartbreaking for her to do that. So if these people, and I believe the same thing about this family from what they have said about this wife and his daughter, if they would have known, they would have turned him in.
And by the way, we also just have to think about try to just think about what is going on in their lives right now. This is their house that they lived in, essentially their whole lives. And now, you can't go back there. So for how long, the street was just closed. Now it's like a tour, people are going to be going there despite the police telling them not to. But also, it's not like they're billionaires and they could be like, all right, well, let me just go hole up in the Four Seasons while we wait for this all to blow over. Like, they have bills, they have stuff they have to do. Their lives don't just stop now. Everything doesn't just get resolved now that he's like, they have to deal with all this stuff. So try to just think about what they must be going through right now. And I know Carrie talks about this. There's before and after. And this is their life now for the rest of their lives. This is never something that just, if he's ultimately convicted and the rest of their lives, they got to deal with this. And then thinking about going back in their heads about things they may have not realized at the time what it was when he said, I'm going to be a little bit late in the city. I was planning on coming home, but I'm going to be a little bit late. Or I got sidetracked. We had a special job we had to do. I got sidetracked. So now that every time, now they're going back in their heads. Wait, he wasn't late for a project. Maybe he never had a project. So I just can't imagine what they're going through now. So just try to, keep that in your minds.
I think we can all relate to that. When you find something out about somebody that surprises you in your life, that someone has been lying about something, something minor. I think we can all relate to that. That then we're like, oh my gosh, I wasn't going back and thinking, that any of this stuff was suspicious. And, we do that with people with addictions. We do that with people that, say they have a job and they actually quit their job and they're just going and hanging out at Starbucks because they're too ashamed, or somebody that doesn't tell you they have cancer. I mean, there are endless amounts of things that we as human beings don't see because we see things as we are. We don't see things as they are. And so when we do that, then when a truth is revealed to us, it's like a veil comes down and then you're like, oh shit, yeah, you're right, that doesn't add up. Especially when you're looking at people who are very close to you and who have earned your trust.
All right, but you want to go on?
Let's go back to the victims. Yes, Carrie is awesome, Renee, and she's going to be here tonight. And she is one of my heroes, and I know a lot of people's hero, just because of how candid she is with her life and how much she helps other people. She does not have to do what she does.
And she helps us, quite frankly. Like, she's helping us navigate this new kind of thing that we're doing here. She really has been an invaluable resource for us. And, like, she's just like a good friend that we have now that we text with. And she, like, tries to, steer us in the right direction. And we trust her. By the way, I got a custom command here. Let's see if this one works.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Come on. There it is.
There it is.
There's Carrie's Twitter, and there's her Buy Me a Coffee. It's spelled on there COFFEE, but we all know that coffee is really spelled CAWFEE. So there's her link. So if you ever want to check her out, that's one of our new custom commands, and we really appreciate her.
Babe, also, I want to say before we have her on tonight, and we won't embarrass her by saying this, she does not. She gets paid from her book when her book sells. She does not get paid to go on Dateline. She does not get paid for interviews. We obviously don't pay her. You guys know we're broke as a joke. But she does not get paid for these things. She does these things because her life was upended and she wants to help people she has a deep need inside of her to help people that are going through what she's gone through. So definitely, if you can, buy her a coffee. Every so often, if you can throw her a coffee, that would just be amazing. She's one of a kind, truly.
She also has a new project, but we'll plug that tonight when she's on the stream. She has a new project with Lauren Lee Malloy. It's pretty cool. So I told him, Gary, I put the link in. Calm down, Gary. So she has a project. We'll talk about it tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then after that, let me put in. Yes, I'll tell them tonight at 10 p.m. We are gonna. By the way, this stream is gonna go into the portal to the Carrie stream with Cheryl McCollum. It's gonna be great. And then that stream is gonna take us in the portal to Publicly Buzzed, where we're gonna be on tonight with our beautiful boys, Steve and Dan, and some other special guests to be confirmed. So, did Buzz not work? Oh, there it is. Okay, good. So, make sure to check us out there. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead, babe.
No, that's okay. So we left off talking about Melissa. Again, it's obviously these women were more than their job, and they were also more than their looks. But I would be remiss than to say all of these women are striking. They are beautiful. And Melissa's little smile, if you find the picture of her, if you go to talk, where she graduated from high school, she has a smile on her face that shows that she was very proud that day, and her parents and her sister were very proud of her, and they're standing in the photo with her. So you'll have to check that out. The third person on our timeline is Megan Waterman. This is Megan and her daughter, Liliana. Lily was 3 years old when her mama was taken from this world. And Megan was 22 years old. She was also petite. And the main thing that she was described by as people in her life, it all centered around Lily. It all centered around Liliana. She was described by everyone that she was a great mom. She was fun. She was a caring mother, and that Lily was her life. She was last seen June 6th, 2010. She is on surveillance at the Holiday Inn in Patchogue, New York. She's from Maine. So that's why you see this is from the Portland Press Herald. There are so many adorable pictures of her with her daughter, where she is just doting on her, kissing her. She's looking at her. She's beaming with pride about her daughter. So her family last saw her. She was getting on a bus to go to New York from Maine to do some work. She was involved at the time of her death, not with Lily's dad, but with another man who was reportedly abusive to her. Her daughter remembers moments of abuse that happened between her mom and her mom's boyfriend, and her mom's family and her believe that Megan was ultimately trafficked into sex work by this boyfriend. So it was not necessarily her choice. She was reported missing nearly immediately because her family just knew that she would not be in contact with Lily. So she is actually on surveillance. You can look that up if you would like. There's surveillance of her It's very sad to watch. It's the very last moments of her life, most likely. She is at the hotel desk. She's trying to, schedule where she's going to be meeting a person that night who ultimately took her life. She was likely killed that same night on June 6th, 2010. There are quite a few more pictures of her. We're getting more into the later eras of the internet. But there are a lot more pictures of her, and you will see that there is a theme with her, and that most of those photos are with her daughter. And she seems to be just enamored with her little girl. Her daughter is an incredibly strong person as well, and has now been interviewed. Now that she is an adult, she's been interviewed, and she just clearly loves her mom and wishes she could get her mom back.
By the way, I know there are some, there are some specials that especially folks who are not in the United States can't watch, as far as, Datelines, 48 Hours, and stuff that I cannot stream on here. So I do plan on streaming on Discord. So if you are a patron, sign up, because I know some of these things I can't do it here. It'll get taken down on YouTube, but I can stream anything on Discord. So I do plan on streaming. There's a 48 Hours. There's a bunch of specials, and especially for folks who can't get access to that because they're out of the country or for whatever reason, we do plan on setting up some dates where we watch those. So if you don't have access to that, we can set that up.
Dizzy, I'm not sure about, there isn't anything out there as far as their socials for support. I know at the point in time, I read all of their obituaries, and some of their obituaries, it would be like, hey, if you want to send support, but I am not sure that information is current, because, these obituaries were from so long ago. So that's something that would need to be further investigated. Also, I don't know how publicly accessible the victims' families are at these moments in time, as they are most likely being talked to by law enforcement and FBI in order to, prepare for a trial that may be coming in the coming months/years.
And I just want to say, you guys know, if you find legit verified links that J-Bo Nation will come through, you send it to me. If there's anything we could do to support any of these victims, and they're, verified, we had a little thing when we initially with Zach where we got wrong information about, but if you guys find verified links for the victims or the families, shoot them over to us, and we will absolutely promote them. And I know J-Bo Nation, J-Buzz Nation, the Bo Effect, we will get that shit out there, and we will help however we can, whatever we can do. So just wanted to confirm that.
All right. So within the timeline, so where we have her in the timeline, she was last seen on that surveillance June 6th, 2010 at 1:30 a.m. She was most likely killed, early that morning, or shortly thereafter from that Holiday Inn surveillance. And she was found on 12/13/10. She was the third person in the Gilgo Four to be murdered. And the last of the Gilgo Four is Lynn Costello. So this photo is from her funeral. This is outside the funeral home. This is her boyfriend at the time and a friend. The boyfriend is on the left, and the friend, Mike Donato, is on the right. And they're holding a photo album with photos of her. And Lynn Costello was from Long Island. She lived in a house in West Babylon. That's where she was last seen. She was leaving on foot. She was 27 years old. She was 4'11". So again, very petite, small woman. She was last seen on September 2nd when she left her residence on foot, and she didn't have her phone with her because she shared a phone with her roommate and friend. Amber was unfortunately a heroin addict, and Amber had been clean where for a while, and then unfortunately she relapsed. As we know, in addiction, relapse is, it's not if it will happen, it's when it will happen. And so unfortunately she had a relapse, and at the time that she was relapsed, correct, life is real, she was not born on Long Island. She was living on Long Island at the time of her murder. She was in the midst of a relapse when she died, because she, at that point in time, her sister, Kimberly Overstreet is her sister, and her sister was also and has also been in the past a sex worker, an escort, and they worked in that business together somewhat. So her sister, at the time of her death, described it as that she was unfortunately working to feed her addiction at those moments. She left on foot that day from her residence, and the very last thing that she said to her roommates was, "If my sister calls, tell her I love her." And I think if all of us who have siblings in here, that really gets you in the heart. She liked going to church. She was very involved in her church. She had nieces that she loved to spoil, even though she did not have a lot of money. Christmas was one of her favorite times, and she loved spoiling her nieces with little presents and things. She was never reported missing because, as her sister says, it was not, she thought that she had found someone and was getting high with them, and felt as though no one would listen to her if she tried to, report her missing. Because of her addiction and because of the work that she did, her family did not feel as though her disappearance would be taken seriously if investigated at all. Amber Lynn was 27 years old when she died. She was last seen on 9/2/2010, and she was found among the other ladies at Gilgo Beach on 12/13/2010. I don't have a separate slide for Shannon, or a separate link if you want to just go back to the photos of them.
You want me to just?
You can. Amber is, the striking thing about Amber I see in her photos is her eyes are just like big and soulful. She has such soulful eyes. I think you'll see that. But if you want to just go back to, this is the task force information on Shannon Gilbert. Shannon Gilbert is a completely different circumstance, because Shannon was not. So Shannon at this point in time is not considered one of LISK's victims. But she goes along with this case so much so because of the work that she did, where she was found, and we don't have a cause of death for Shannon. So here's what happened with Shannon Gilbert. On 5/1/2010, Shannon was, first off, she was an amazing singer and she wanted to be an actress. There are a lot of photos of her, and I think you can see in her photos that she had a lot of personality, especially knowing those things about her, that she was very theatrical. I think you see that in the photos. I think she looks like she is ready for the limelight, or wasn't afraid to be in the limelight. A lot of people, I think Shannon is probably auto-correcting on our site to the way that my name is spelled. Shannon's name is actually spelled A-N, but it does tend to autocorrect probably for Jay and I a lot, because it just goes to my name. So just so we're clear, her name is Shannan. Why she isn't considered one of the victims. So Shannon's story is very well outlined in, The Killing Fields is one episode that's devoted to her. Shannon was doing escort work, and again, she does fit the profile of the other ladies. She's very petite, and she was working in sex work, and she was found very near to the victims. She was taken by her driver, though. She had a driver who took her to her jobs in order to have extra security. And his last name is Pack. And Mr. Pack drove her to a job on Oak Beach, which is the community of houses that are very near to Gilgo Beach. They are those houses that if you watched our nighttime stream, you see that those houses are kind of where I said to Jay when we were turning around, well, these people have to be able to access their house. So there's got to be a inlet to these houses. Those houses are where her last job was. And she, for some reason, ran from the house. She called 911. The 911 call has just now, so this happened in 2010. They had this 911 call. The police did not get to her in time because they did not know where she was, because she did not know where she was at the time. These little beach towns, they all look the same. And to me, I don't know that I would be able to, if I'm running for my life, know exactly where I am, especially because these towns kind of run into each other. It's not like it's not the difference between the suburbs in other states where it's like there's miles and miles between another city. And you're like, oh, well, clearly now we're in this city. So Shannon had with her when she ran from this job, and for some reason she would not get back in with her driver. Her driver followed her for a little bit, tried to get her to get back in. She was very scared. She was saying on the 911 call that they were going to kill her. She ran and she knocked on a neighbor's door named Gus Coletti. He tried to get her to stay. He also called 911, and he tried to get her to wait with him. But when he told her that the police were coming, she was very, very scared and left. So there's a lot that we just don't know. What the original cause of death is that she was possibly, it was an accidental death, that she maybe suffered hypothermia. Even though it was September, it was pretty cold at night at this point. And she would have been walking through the marsh, running through the marsh, possibly have gotten wet and suffered from hypothermia. That's one theory.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, babe, but she was not found on the same side of the parkway where the other victims were found, correct?
She was not.
Guys, so she was found on the other side. If you remember that trip when we went, we drove one way, then we turned around and we showed where the victims were found on the one side of the road. She was found on the other side of the road. She was found with her clothes on, with money in her wallet. So the reason I think that they're not connecting it as of right now, despite her attorney saying that her attorney believes she was murdered, and despite the Suffolk County not believing that she was murdered, she was not in the burlap. She was with her clothes on. She was with her identification. She had money. And like I said, she was not on the same side of the road. So that's why I believe Suffolk County PD does not believe it's related to the other victims.
Her things were found
Clothes were
away
off.
from
Okay,
her.
sorry.
Her pants and her
Sorry,
pocketbook.
they were away from her. I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay. She did have clothing on, though. She did have her top on, and she did have, jewelry and things with her. So it wasn't like the other victims who we don't know if maybe he kept all those things. But so yes, Life is Real is talking about that Shannon Gilbert was, missing as of 5/1/2010, and both Megan and Amber Lynn Costello were both murdered after that. So one thing that's, the thing that's different about the pattern, obviously, is that she was taken to Oak Beach to a home. She was not picked up on Long Island in another location like these other ladies were, or even picked up in the city. She was driven somewhere, and she was not driven to Massapequa Park. She was driven to like where the dump site was, which is not how Rex Heuermann and had operated in the past. I am not by any means saying that Shannon Gilbert wasn't murdered. An independent autopsy done by John Ray, her family's attorney, determined that her hyoid bone was missing, which could mean that she was strangled. However, there are also things that she could, that it's possible that an animal could have taken those smaller bones. And so the police that are on the task force now, rather than before people investigating this, I do think that they want to link as many people as they possibly can to this monster, if alleged monster, if they can. But Shannon Gilbert's case is very different than the rest. And there was a lot going on in the town of Oak Beach, which if you watch Lost Girls and you watch, the Killing Fields and things like that, you can also see there was some corruption going on in the Suffolk County Police Department. There was a giant population of police living on Oak Beach. This is kind of a place where law enforcement, top cops in law enforcement were living, and some, highfalutin characters like doctors and lawyers, etc. But there are a lot of things that are very strange about the Shannon Gilbert case, and we definitely do not know the truth of what happened to her. So I hope that at some point in time, her family is able to have justice as well. Unfortunately, her mom has since passed. So Shannon's family she had an interesting and tragic family. Whoops, that's me dropping things. Her mom's name was Mary. She was a very fierce advocate for Shannon. Shannon was the oldest daughter. Then her daughter, Sherry, I'm sorry, not her daughter, not Shannon's daughter, Shannon's sister, Sherry, and then her sister, Sarah, and then they had a half-sister named Stevie. Their dad was a heroin addict who also was most likely using heroin because he was schizophrenic. Her sister Sarah has also been diagnosed as schizophrenic and unfortunately took the life of Shannon's mother, Mary, while in an episode of psychosis. She asked her mom to come over, and her mom went over to help her, and unfortunately she was murdered by her daughter Sarah. Mary's daughter Sarah, Shannon's sister Sarah, is now serving life in prison for that murder. So her two other sisters, though, are still very much, Stevie and Sherry, are still very much working for justice for Shannon. But I mean, the amount of sadness that I have for this family is unreal. I mean, these sisters must feel like lightning has struck twice. And it's just, I can't even, it's very sad. But
And
because of that history of schizophrenia in the family, a lot of that can work against the theory that she was murdered, because schizophrenia is highly familial, and her sister also inherited it, and she would have been, around the age where schizophrenia develops, early 20s, where she says, where she's very paranoid in the call. Now, is she paranoid or are they out to get her? We don't know, but she's saying like they're getting me, and she ran from multiple people who tried to help her, either the driver, and life is real. I'm not saying she didn't lay down and die. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that there are a lot of facts that point toward that she was a murder victim, maybe not Rex Heuermann's victim. And there are also things that point to the SCPD theory that she was maybe drugged and got confused in the marsh, which is thick and very, very dense. If you've been out there, it would be easy to get turned around, and it was the middle of the night and she was scared. Now, that to me is not an accidental death. That to me is still a murder. But I am definitely not saying that she laid down and died. I wouldn't have placed her on the victims list had I thought that, and I would not be here talking about her if I thought that.
don't worry about it, babe. Don't worry about life is real needs to calm down. One thing I wanted to say, the other families consider Shannon like a guardian angel for them. So that we watched that today, and so I just wanted to bring that up. All right, but did you have anything else you wanted to go over?
No, I just think that she is adorable as well. I know I'm talking about their looks, but she definitely cared about her looks because she wanted to be an actress or a singer. And to me, she looks a little bit like a young Lisa Rinna. So I think she's just a doll. Everybody says she was very spunky. And I commend her sisters, Sherry and Stevie, for going on this journey, trying to get justice for her, even in the midst of losing their mom, Mary. It's the amount of grief that family has. It's unfathomable. It's unfathomable. I can't say that word, but I feel for them a lot. That is mainly what I had left to go over today.
Again, guys, putting it in here, an invaluable resource here, catch_LISK. Please check them out, and I hope we gave a little bit. I know Shannon worked on this, and hope you have a better idea, regarding these victims. I don't know, babe. Do you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, just that we do plan. I know that I have 5 people on that graphic, and I know that there were more bodies found on Oak Beach, and we do plan to talk more about them. These 4 were very closely connected because of the way that they were found, wrapped and shrouded. And Shannon is who led to the light being shown on them. And so she had to be included with them. And I do think that she is a worthy and place to put our attention as well. So those 5 we worked with today. And I do plan on having more about the other victims who I do believe that Rex Hurman will be linked to. I hope he's linked to. I think they are his victims. And even if they're not his victims, we're going to spend some time talking about them because they're worthy of our respect, and they're worthy and they matter. And they did not deserve to be left along the side of a road. Thank you all for being here so very much.
Again, when I shut this down, it should take you to the stream tonight, which we're very excited to talk to Cheryl McCollum and Carrie Rawson. So it'll take you to that stream if you want to just like it and get it in the algorithm and say something in the chat. So we appreciate you all being here. We're going to continue to cover this case and hopefully do it in a way that we always want to be respectful of the victims. And we appreciate you guys being here. I don't know. Do we have anything else that we wanted to add?
Somebody was just talking about the cover up, and there was clearly, and Jay talked about this so eloquently when we were on the scene. When we talked to Ruth Bashinsky the very first time, she said, "What do you think about this story?" And he basically was like, "This is bullshit, that these women were not treated like Gabby Petito. They were not treated like JonBenet Ramsey. They were not treated like another missing person. They were completely disrespected." And I mean, if you go more into the stories from each of these ladies' moms, and they are begging law enforcement to help them. And it's basically like, oh, well, they were involved in sex work. So, or they were on drugs and involved in sex work. Well, we're not going to use our valuable resources on these people. And that is so insulting. I can't even imagine that being my family member. You love them more than anything, and to be told that they are just worth nothing and they are not worth the time is just pitiful. And I absolutely believe that there was cover up going on. There is, 2 top officials of Suffolk County are in jail now for corruption, and they didn't care. They weren't going to do what they should have. Do I think they accessed sex workers and didn't want that to come out? Abso-freaking-lutely. We have evidence that that's what was going on. So it's an absolutely pressure cooker that creates the most perfect environment for these things to exist and for these things to happen to these vulnerable people. And no, I'm not sitting here and saying there wasn't a cover up. There absolutely was a cover up. There absolutely was disrespect to these women and to the humans that they were. And I just, I don't want anybody to not think that I think that this is complete bullshit the way they were treated. And that's what we both think.
Absolutely. So, thanks everyone for being here. We will be back at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Carrie and Charles. And then at 10, we will be on Publicly Buzzed with Steve and Dan. So we appreciate you being here with us. And we will see you hopefully tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So deuces, YOLO. Oh, sorry, babe. You were just going to go ahead, babe.
I was just going to say thank you, everybody, for being here. And, you know, this was important. This was important for us to do. We don't have a lot of viewers on this stream, but I don't care if we have one viewer. We were going to have a show about the 5 of these women, and we're going to have a show about the other people that were found on Oak Beach. And I don't care if no one watches it, because it's coming out of our mouth and it's being on our channel. So thank you to the 62 of you who are here. You're awesome.
Thank you so much. Deuces, YOLO, and fuck you, Ted.